How you doing, creating change? Oh, come on. I think you've been spending a little bit too much time at those dispensaries. How are you doing, creating change? One Colorado is the state's largest LGBT advocacy organization, and we are honored to welcome you all to Colorado for the 2015 Creating Change Conference. But the main reason I'm up here is to recognize someone incredibly special, an amazing leader in our community, whose work we are honoring with the 2015 Immigrant Rights Leadership Award, sponsored by the Evelyn and Walter Haas Jr. Fund. That leader is Carlos Padilla. Many of you know Carlos from his current role as the national coordinator for the Queer Undocumented Immigrant Project, a project of United We Dream. His leadership has mobilized a nationwide network of young leaders who are fighting for both LGBTQ and immigrant rights. Yes, we can walk and chew gum at the same time. But Carlos has been a champion for the immigration reform movement for over half a decade. In 2010, he helped organize thousands of undocumented young people to go to Washington, D.C. and advocate for the passage of the DREAM Act. This powerful and courageous display played a key role in the House of Representatives passing the bill. Since then, we've seen too many setbacks in the fight to unite our families once and for all. But throughout all of these ups and downs, and despite many in our own community feeling discouraged or left behind, Carlos has never given up. In fact, just 2 years ago, he co-organized Operation Butterfly to focus our nation's attention on the suffering experienced by so many families torn apart by unjust immigration laws. Today, many undocumented LGBTQ youth look up to Carlos as a role model, someone who knows firsthand what it means to come out of not just one, but two closets. His journey is one of hope, of bravery, and of inspiration. I first learned about Carlos's work while I was working at the Gill Foundation here in Denver, helping to lead the Latino Initiative. At the time, this new project helped lay the foundation for vital intersectional work between LGBT organizations and immigrant rights groups. That includes organizations like One Colorado, whose groundbreaking partnership with the Colorado Immigrant Rights Coalition, yes, cheer for CIRC, let's hear it for CIRC. Our partnership led to powerful shared victories, from increased support for marriage equality among the Latino community here in Colorado, to passing legislation that ensures tuition equity for Colorado's undocumented students. As Carlos can attest, this intersectional work is not always easy. Sometimes we find ourselves having to do more convincing than we thought, even among those we consider our friends. I'm sure many people in this room know that feeling, and sometimes it's incredibly exhausting. But we get up and we do this work every day because, like Carlos, we believe in a nation where all of us have a chance to succeed, where our undocumented friends are given the same opportunities as everyone else, where differences can be respected and valued, not feared. That's the vision that drives Carlos to do this incredible work. He believes in fighting for all people and keeping our families united. And since we're talking about families, by the way, you don't have to take all of this from me. Just the other week, I decided to go straight to the source and have a conversation with someone who's known Carlos from day one, his mother. And here's what she had to say. Ever since he was small, Carlos has been a protector of everything and everyone. He is always attentive of who he can help and who he can support, and that makes me very proud of my son. As the saying goes, a mother knows best. Carlos, thank you for being our protector and our champion, and congratulations on this very well-deserved award. Creating change, put your hands together for Carlos Padilla.
Gracias. Thank you, everyone. This Leadership on Immigration Reform Award means to me that finally our community truly embraces that we are not single-issued people and that our strength is rooted in the complexity of our identities. I want to thank the Evelyn and Walter Haas Jr. Fund, my family, my chosen family, and above all, the more than 267,000 undocumented LGBTQ people living in this country today, whose existence is the resistance by living with their authenticity and making sure that they're creating the change that we want to see today. I am queer and undocumented, and for 20 years, I lived in fear of family separation, whether that be through detention or deportations. Growing up in Los Angeles, California, the unique experience of being undocumented was something I was reminded every single day when my mother would have to spend the entire day working at a sweatshop. And when during her mornings, she would prep me so that my siblings and I would share to the community that we were born in the local children's hospital, because this was giving her some sort of relief that we would not be taken away from her. Many of these experiences are also particularly true with my queer identity. I remember valuing the little time that I had with my mother and having to share that during Sunday Mass, as my priest would once again remind me and condemn homosexuality. I remember growing up in the Latino community and hearing the word joto, queer, as a word of shame or guilt. And I remember that I didn't want to bring no more guilt or shame to my mother because she was already doing everything she could for me. This kept me in the shadow for a long time, but I wouldn't remain there for much longer. In 2008, after a family loss, my mother had to return to Mexico with no idea whether she would return or not. This moment was the catalyst of my activism, and it led me to come out as undocumented because the pain that I was feeling was too great. As young immigrants, we are determined to change the world. We fight against family separation, deportations, the unjust detention system, and many of the flaws of living as being undocumented in this country. It was my chosen family that helped me organize Operation Butterfly, where I was able to reunite with my mother in the Nogales, Arizona border, and for the first time after 5 long, painful years, feel her warmth over a border fence. I cannot tell you what that moment felt, to hold my mother after such a long time. What I can tell you is that it made me much more determined to fight for freedom. We have come a long way. We've organized, we galvanized our community, and finally, in November 20th of 2014, we moved the most powerful person in this country, President Obama. We finally moved them to give relief from deportation to nearly 5 million people. That is our victory. I put myself on the line. I was arrested, and I continued galvanizing my community for this victory. But that same executive action left so many out, particularly many of our LGBTQ siblings, leaving them vulnerable to the detention and deportation machine. And now, even that gain is threatened by Congress, and lawsuits are determined to block this executive action from taking into effect. It's in these moments where the LGBTQ community and immigrant movement must become one and protect our communities. We are no longer asking, we are demanding, because our survival depends on it. Currently, many of the 34,000 people found in an average day in immigration detention continue to face abuse and trauma. The most vulnerable amongst them are LGBTQ people, pregnant women, and HIV positive folks. These detention centers, many of which are privatized, often operate in isolation and seemingly without oversight. They are for-profit institutions that have proven themselves again and again inapt to protect the lives of our communities while continuing to profit out of them. These detention centers are located all around the country, and they are intended to make sure that our communities are lost in them. This arbitrary demand to deport 400,000 people per year has systemized the deportation machine and has created fear in our communities. It is not enough to organize to get 1 or 2 detainees out of immigration. We must go to the source and challenge the institution itself. We are gearing up to confront the for-profit system of detention and deportation that is depleting our communities. We need solidarity from folks in our communities, whether you're undocumented or not, or whether you're LGBTQ or not. When I was little, I remember holding my sister's and brother's hand when my mother wouldn't come home. I would hold them because I was afraid. And I remember my brother telling me, he would say, Aaron, don't be afraid. It is us 3 against the world. I want to bring on stage my chosen family so that I make sure that these are the folks who I continue to fight with. And I want to welcome you all to be part of my chosen family. Because it is us against the world. It is us against this criminalization, this mass murder, this mass violence against our trans, queer, black, brown, indigenous communities. We must stand together. So if my chosen family would please join me on stage. Some of my chosen family, and I want to ask you all to raise your hand with us, and if you're able to stand up with us, if you're ready to join us on this liberation journey together. I want to recite a quote that has inspired me during moments of uncertainty. It is a quote from Ashata Shakur, a black liberation activist who has inspired us as an elder, because as us as immigrant youth, we continue to follow the lead of our elders and the ones before us. It is our duty to fight for freedom.
It is our duty to fight for freedom.
It is our duty to win.
It is our duty to win.
We must love each other and protect each other.
We must love each other and protect each other.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
It is our duty to fight for freedom.
It is our duty to fight for freedom.
It is our duty to win.
It is our duty to win.
We must love each other and protect each other.
We must love each other and protect each other.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carlos. Thank you, your family. Before you go off to your workshops and to the rest of your afternoon, there is a couple of changes to the schedule that you have to pay attention to. First of all, tonight, don't forget, it is the Masquerade Ball in the Plaza Ballroom at 8 p.m., kicking off for those 24 and under. And we also have the fabulous 50-plus Allies Dance, to which all are welcome, starting at 9 p.m. in the Majestic Ballroom. And you who are 25 to 49, you're on your own. I know you'll think of something. And if the dancing doesn't appeal to you, we have the Governor Square 14 at 9 p.m., a wonderful one-person comedy starring Peterson Toscano. So join us there at 9 p.m. And I have wanted to say this for a couple of days, but there are 6 people here from Norway. Are they here? I don't know, they must be somewhere, but we welcome them. They're so sweet. Okay, and we also have our annual gallery walk at the Art Studio space. So go see what people have created at the Art Studio space gallery in Governor Square 17 from 6:30 to 8 tonight. And also, as you know, there's a slew of cocktails and caucuses. Okay. The cocktail caucus is here. Good. And if you did create art in the art space, please pick up your art tomorrow by 10 a.m., Sunday morning. And tomorrow, don't forget when you're packing do not pack your conference badge and put it in your luggage, because you'll need it to come into the brunch tomorrow. And speaking of packing, please review what you are not allowed to carry in your luggage, if you know what I'm saying, out of Colorado. All right. It's been a trip being here. Oh, I didn't mean it that way. Not actually. I have 25 years of being clean and sober, so coming here was a little scary. It's like coming on a wine tour. But it strikes me that Colorado should change their license plate because Colorado has marriage equality and now legalized marijuana. I think their license plate down below should say, "Marriage, Juana." Okay. But don't forget, you need to wear your badges tomorrow. And have a wonderful afternoon, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Thank you.